I, 25 female, overheard my boyfriend, 27 male, say that he chose the wrong girl. For context, my boyfriend and I have been together for 8 years. We met between mutual friends while I was still in school, and he had just moved to my town to go to college. We were friends for 2 years before we started dating. The reason for this was because 1, I was too scared to make a move, and secondly, he was in love with one of our mutual friends. After she got a boyfriend, he moved on to liking me, and we have been dating ever since. Last Saturday was his birthday, and he told me that he has never been thrown a surprise party and would like to experience one. I worked all week before Saturday, his birthday, planning and inviting people, getting reservations, buying a cake, etc. I asked his best friend to hang out with him for most of the day so I could set up and get everyone to get there and hide for the surprise. The birthday party was a success and he was smiling the whole time. He had snuck up with his best friend somewhere and I wanted to find him so that we could sing happy birthday and cut the cake. As I was walking down the hallway, I heard him and his friend talking, so I kept walking towards their voices. I heard him tell his friend that he should have kept trying with our mutual friend. He told him that he should have been that man that was engaged to her and not her now fiancé. Bruh, what? He said that he hated waking up to me and that he wished that our mutual friend was the one that threw him his first surprise party. He said that he felt disgusted every time he had to kiss me or hold me because he knew that our mutual friend would... What the fudge? He said that he felt disgusted every time he had to kiss me or hold me because he knew that our mutual friend should be in his arms instead. He said that he felt like he was stuck in our relationship and that he would end up having to marry me. He said that our mutual friend was better than me in looks from head to toe. He said that she was the most gorgeous girl I've ever seen. I went back to the party and told everyone that I couldn't find him and that we would have to wait for him to come back. When he came back, he gave me a hug and a kiss on the head and told me he loved me. I didn't want to ruin his party, so I went along with it. He doesn't know that I know he doesn't honestly love me. I've just been going along with everything. I honestly don't want to break up with him. I just want to know how I can make him fall in love with me. I don't know what I did to make him feel so unhappy, so I'd like to know, how do I make my boyfriend fall in love with me, or should I just give up on our relationship? He is the first boyfriend I've ever had and I'm scared to start dating again at my age. Am I wrong for telling my stepsister she can't wear my mom's wedding dress? I, 16 female, grew up without a father for a long time and it was just me and my mom. Last year, my mom got married to my stepdad, Brad. Brad has 2 kids, Tessa, 26, and Jake, 18. My dad passed away shortly after I was born, leaving my mom in mountains of debt. The one thing she refused to sell was her wedding dress. She always talked about how it was her dream for me to get married wearing her dress, or at least her veil. It's a gorgeous, simple white dress with a long lace veil. My dad had the dress handmade and designed for my mom before their wedding. When my mom remarried, she still refused to sell the dress and got a new dress for her wedding to Brad. She always talked about that dress being mine. Tessa got engaged last week and she was so excited to show off her ring and talk about her wedding plans. Tessa knows how much that dress means to me, so while talking about her wedding with my mom and Brad, she threw out the idea that she could wear the dress that my mom has been saving for me at her wedding because it'll save us so much money. My mom brought up the fact that she wasn't comfortable with that since she was saving that dress for me, but Brad said my mom should agree since she now has 2 wedding dresses and I can wear the other one. Tessa also pointed out that the dress would need so many alterations to even fit me since I'm much shorter than my mom and I'm not as thin as my mom. Tessa also said it would be years before I'd need it, so it wasn't going to be an issue. My mom was on the fence about it, but Brad was all for it and pulled the dress out of storage and handed it to Tessa. I freaked out and grabbed the dress out of her hands. I told her she wasn't allowed to wear my mom's dress and that she can get her own mom's dress or buy her own, but she wasn't allowed to wear the dress my mom is saving for me. I locked myself and the dress in my room. All day, my mom has been texting me and coming to the door asking me to come out and talk to her and Brad. Brad has been calling me spoiled and selfish, saying that I'm acting like a huge brat. I can't just let some stranger wear the only thing of my dad I have left. I feel bad. Tessa is really upset and she's been crying and texting me asking me to apologize and give her the dress back. I can't tell if I'm in the wrong. Brad and Tessa think I'm being an ass, but my stepbrother and friends agree that I should stand my ground. Am I wrong for interrupting my son's date so that he could pick up his little sister? I am a single father, 43 male, to 2 children, Max, 17 male, and Liza, 8 female. I usually have Liza in after-school club so that I'm able to pick her up after work. However, last evening I was given some work that had me working overtime. I did try my best to negotiate out of it, but my manager told me that the assignment was to be completed by that night, so I just did it. It was nearing towards 6 p.m. and I just knew I wouldn't be able to make it to Liza, so I called Max and asked him to pick her up. He responded by saying he couldn't because he was on a date with his girlfriend for their 6-month anniversary. I told him that I understood, but that I really needed him to get Liza and that I'd make it up to him for interrupting. He just angrily turned off the phone, and I thought that while he was mad at me, he just decided to pick her up. 30 minutes later, I received a call from the school on where I was because the school was close to closing down and no one was there. Luckily, one of Liza's friend's mothers said they dropped her off and that was all good. However, I don't really like it when Liza goes with that particular friend, not because of the friend, but because of the mother. She has this habit of asking math questions in the car that she knows Liza is unable to answer and then criticizes her over it. It's all just very mean. I called Max and asked him where he was and that he was in big trouble when he got home. He just told me that he was busy and to leave him the hell alone. He came home around 9 p.m. I told him he was grounded and that he was not allowed to use the car for a good 3 weeks. At that, he got all mad and said that it wasn't his fault that I was failing as a parent and unable to afford someone to collect Liza. This is the 3rd time I've ever asked Max to pick up his sister in the span of a year and a half. Some people are asking why I don't have a nanny. Money is tight. Max and Liza's mother is not present in their lives, and no, I did not think of socializing myself with the parents at Liza's school. I'm at work most times, so I haven't found time outside of the yearly parent meetings. Just want some insight on the situation. Was I being too harsh, and am I the asshole for interrupting his date? My boyfriend asked for a paternity test of our child. As soon as the results come and show that he's the father, I'm leaving him. I'm a new mom to a baby boy who is my pride and joy, and though it's been a roller coaster adjusting to taking care of a baby, the past few months had been great, tiring but great. I have a boyfriend of 3 years who is the first person relationship-wise I have ever loved, and I thought we were doing great as new parents, but also as partners. Friday, he came home and asked me for a paternity test. Just like that. It was completely out of the blue. I was putting away the dishes and he asked for one, like he was asking what was for dinner. I'm a different race from him, but our child, apart from the skin tone, is literally his mirror image from pictures I had seen of him when he was a baby. I was stunned when he asked, and his reasons were that he had to be sure he was the father. He had to have that certainty. All I remember as he was speaking is just immediately feeling pain. The man I love doesn't trust me. He would actually believe that I would sleep with someone else, cheat on him, and then try to pass up another man's baby as his. I have never ever given him reason to think I would cheat on him. I have tried to be transparent and communicated, and it wasn't enough. He told me he would give me time to think about this, that he wouldn't go behind my back and do this test, but for our relationship to move forward, he needs to be 100% sure. He repeated this because he, in his words, needed me to realize how serious he was. After thinking for a couple of days, I'm going to allow him this paternity test because I have nothing to hide. I never cheated and would never cheat on him. Once it's proven that he's the father, I'm ending it, leaving the same day, and I'm going to try my best to be a cooperative co-parent with him. In the meantime, I'm coming up with my exit plan, a place to live, and a lawyer to work out a custody arrangement in court. I couldn't tell my father or my friends right now because they would go nuclear, and my first priority is our child. I hope the test was worth it to him. I'm not asking for advice or reassurance or to explain his side. I'm just realizing this part of my life is now over. What a way to start the year, huh? I realized if I blindsided him like that, I would be doing the exact same thing he did to me when he asked for the paternity test. I planned to ask him to talk, but I also didn't want him to think I was trying to get out of the test. So beforehand, I booked an appointment at 2 different paternity test locations. I asked him to talk when he came home, and I made sure our child was at my mom's. I told him that whatever happened with this talk, the paternity test had been booked and would go forward. I basically asked him his reasoning, and when he started having doubts about paternity, was it a previous relationship? Did cheating happen? He said it was about a week before he asked me that he started having doubts. He said that he was on his lunch break one day just reading articles, and he clicked on an old article about a man who found out his 3 kids weren't his after like 20 years. This led him into a rabbit hole of podcasters and YouTube videos that encouraged men to ask for paternity tests. While he thought those podcasters were idiots, he said that the paternity test was an exception. He said his reasoning was that some women have done this before and he wanted to be sure. He said, "You know it's yours because the baby comes out of you, but how do I know? The test gives me that assurance." I was hurt by that, but I decided to explain how I felt. I said that for him, it was a rational request, while for me, it was basically him saying that he didn't trust me. It was him saying that he believed I would cheat on him, get pregnant, have him emotionally, financially, and physically support me during the pregnancy and birth, and basically lie to him when he raised another man's child. I told him that I understand that women had done this before, but the fact that he thought I would do this to him is what bothered me. I told him the truth that when I was angry, I had planned to leave him and that I even went looking into a lawyer, a co-parenting plan, and a new place to live. He was stunned that I would leave for something so small. I found that to be a weird kind of irony that he believed issuing an ultimatum about a paternity test and basically accusing your partner of cheating was something small. I told him I was really hurt by what he said, and I was still hurt, but if he needs this peace of mind, that we would do it. He asked what about our relationship, and I told him I didn't know. We did the test 2 days later, got the results back after 3. He opened both of them, and to the surprise of no one, he's the dad. He was visibly relieved when he read the test, and I don't know why that hurt more. It's been about 2 weeks from the results, and I'm still really hurt. God, I sound so pathetic. I feel pathetic. I thought the results would maybe relieve some of that, but it didn't. It's like a switch clicked when he asked for the test, and I can't find a way to click it off. I'm pretty sure postpartum is playing a part in this because all I do is cry, and I wasn't like this before. I have also moved into the spare room, something he was against, but I felt bad because apart from when our son is awake, I'm sad all the time. I'm looking for a therapist, and he wants to do couples therapy, and he's looking for one. He already has a few appointments booked just to try them out. He wants to move on, marriage, more kids in the future, and go back to where we are, and thinks that our relationship is now stronger. While I'm just thinking, our relationship right now is weaker than a person on stilts. I don't know if I would say we are together. The physical affection is gone. We rarely talk about anything but the baby. It's awkward. I'm trying to find a way back to where we were, and I can't see how. I'm going to try to fix this and try therapy, but I just have this feeling that this is basically a sinking ship. I hope I'm wrong. I want to very much be wrong. So she has a final edit and it says, I left. Things have gone downhill and under advisement. I can't really discuss it until things have been settled in court. I guess I'm really a cautionary tale on what can go wrong. Please, if you have concerns with your partner, discuss things beforehand, especially before you have a child. Thank you again for your different perspectives. Hoping to have everything settled eventually.
Am I wrong for purposely not intervening and letting my little sister cause a minor accident with my car and making her cover damages? My 25 male little sister, female 18, Christy, has recently got her license. She obviously thinks she's an incredible driver and can handle a car no matter what. After only 4 months of driving, she's already become one of the girls that puts their phone between their thighs to be able to look at messages and access it while driving. It drives the whole family insane, and we've talked to her about it multiple times, but it just goes in one ear and out the other. And yesterday she did it again while driving my car when we were out getting groceries. She'd been distracted for almost the whole drive and even continued to look at her phone after a brief break when I told her to cut it. When she was about to roll into a parking spot, she got a message and looked down at her phone. I noticed she was about to ram into a lantern, and when I was sure she wouldn't cause damage to other vehicles, I decided to just let her run into it. It was a huge shock to her and she sat completely still. Am I wrong for purposely not intervening and letting my little sister cause a minor accident with my car and making her partially cover damages? She sat completely still for 15 seconds, processing what just happened. It wasn't until I said, "Will you learn to leave that phone alone now?" that she finally spoke. The first thing she said was, "Why didn't you tell me?" in an absolutely baffled tone, and I told her straight up I didn't tell her so she'd learn a lesson. She was absolutely livid and tried to push all the blame on me for not intervening. But I told her it would have been the same outcome had I not been there, and ultimately she, as the driver, is responsible. Christy was absolutely godsmacked that she effed around and found out, and even more so when I told her she'd have to account for half the damages. In total, that was just shy of $200 for a blown out light, bent bumper, and a dent in the hood. She went completely wild, but I said she's lucky I'm not making her pay for everything, since she was the one driving. She paid immediately, but now she can't go on a trip. Am I wrong? Am I wrong for refusing to clean my room after my parents dumped my brother's trash in it? I have a decent room. I keep the trash out, but I'm not that organized. My brother is almost 20 years old and still lives at home, and I'm 15. My parents are nice, and thankfully there's no golden child thing going on. So last week, one of the outlets in my brother's room sparked and shut down the power in his entire room. And as a result, his room had to run off a generator or something. So on Friday, the electric guy came to fix his bedroom, and my brother had a bunch of boxes and trash in his room. So my mom and my brother made the absolutely genius decision to dump all his trash into my room. When I came home, I was pissed because there were 3 boxes, 2 trash bags, one that fell and it was open, and trash spilled all over my room. Needless to say, I was really pissed. So I decided I was just going to ignore all the trash in my room. And yesterday my mom came into my room and told me to clean my disgusting room. Am I wrong for refusing to clean my room after my parents dumped my brother's trash in it? When I came home, I was pissed because there were 3 boxes, 2 trash bags, one of which fell down and it was open, and trash spilled all over my room. So I decided that I was just going to ignore all the trash in my room. But yesterday, my mom came into my room and told me to clean my disgusting room. And I told her she needs to clean my room because she's the one who made the mess in my room. And she responded that it's my responsibility to clean my own room because she's giving me housing and food. I told her that I didn't ask to be born and she threatened to take away my computer. I told her she can pay me $1,000 for it because I paid for the whole thing. Now my mom thinks I was being entitled and she's all mad and my room is not clean. Am I wrong?